John Clarke of Whistleblowers for Change, speaking on behalf of Angelo Agrizzi, is joining us now this hour. Good afternoon, Mr. Clarke. Thank you very much for your time. Of course, in the part 3 of the state capture report focuses mainly on Bosasa, and one of the key whistleblowers and the key testimony given was by Mr. Angelo Agrizzi. What's your response? What's your reaction to this?
Well, let me just say who I am and what Whistleblowers for Change is. I'm a social worker, and I've been in social work in private practice for many years. I assisted Mandy Wiener a bit with her book on the whistleblowers, and since then have been working to provide psychosocial support to whistleblowers, particularly those who have initially kind of testified at the Zondo Commission, and then, of course, others that have come forth from journalists who have referred them to me, who are all suffering terrible retaliation as a consequence of it. And it's in that context that I happen to get to know Angelo Agrizzi, and am very concerned for his well-being, and all whistleblowers who are, in fact, the people that really gave the legs to the Zondo report. And I have a brief statement from Angelo that I can basically just read.
Okay, and is this been sanctioned by Mr. Angelo Agrizzi?
Yes, he did. He asked me to please do this because he's not well. I think he reported earlier he's in hospital. He's taken quite a severe toll on his health, and I've just basically said, look, can I help by at least providing some sort of commentary and to satisfy the media's need for comment of the guy that really has been the person that I think gave the Zondo Commission a whole new impetus.
Okay, just to clarify, so you are doing it on behalf of Mr. Agrizzi as a whistleblower and in the Bosasa matter, and part 3 of the state capture report is focused solely on that. And is it the first time you're reading the statement, Mr. Clarke?
Yes, it is. So you've got the scoop. I mean, it came out last night, and I've been reading through the report, trying to advise Angelo while he's been sick to say, well, let's just satisfy the media need, okay, and make the most of it.
So this is the first time we're hearing Mr. Angelo Agrizzi's response to the part 3 of the state capture report. Okay, you've got the next moments. Mr. Clarke, you go ahead and tell us what Mr. Angelo Agrizzi has to say in reaction to the chapter 3 or part 3 of the state capture report as released yesterday to the presidency. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Right, here goes. Angelo says, I am grateful for Acting Chief Justice Raymond Zondo's kind words of appreciation toward me for having lifted another lid on the sewer of corruption. My testimony has now been overwhelmingly confirmed, and criminal prosecutions will now ensue against the very long list of politicians and business people that I have named and implicated with factual evidence. I have suffered enough, but I am comforted in the knowledge that history will now record that the capture of the state by the Gupta brothers was enabled by the prior capture of the ANC and its deployment structures by Gavin Watson and Bosasa. It was occurring on an industrial scale long before the Gupta brothers arrived on the scene. I participated in that process and am deeply remorseful about the role I played, profoundly regret not blowing the whistle when I first became aware of the wrongdoing, and I'm now resolved to continue to assist wherever I can to throw off the grave clothes of state capture by allowing the liberating power of honesty, truth, and justice to take new root. Judge Zondo has also confirmed that a ruthless strategy of retaliation was waged against me to try and kill me. Those threats will not deter me, and there are many other enablers of state capture that need to be booked, and there are many other potential whistleblowers who can provide the evidence that is required in order to have them brought to justice. My chronic state of physical health at present does not allow me to participate further in the public discussion on the report at this stage. My lawyer is speaking about the state of affairs with the criminal trial, and then my books provide an ample, in-depth narrative of the ordeal, and I would just ask the media to allow me to heal and rather pursue the people I have named and implicated to explain themselves. Okay, that's it.
So, Mr. John Clarke, you assure me and us, our viewers at eNCA, that these are the words of Mr. Angelo Agrizzi.
Absolutely. I'm a professional social worker. I've been for 40 years. I'm not one to actually, I'm not a propagandist or someone that's trying to sort of put spin on things.
I just need to make sure, because I've never done this myself either, where I've taken a live statement just out like that from an individual who's very much in the news and a subject, of course, of this very important part 3 of the state capture report. And thank you very much. But before you go, Mr. Clarke, that's been taken live, and so therefore it's on record, it's recorded. Mr. Agrizzi was supposed to be in court today in the other matter that involved former ANC MP Vincent Smith, and obviously because he's still in hospital unwell, he couldn't go. You've mentioned 2 things. Just if you are able to share with our viewers about, how unwell, how sick is he? And secondly, you mentioned a book that he's busy with.
Well, he's written 2 books already, and they're published, so they are on record. And he did that to try and put on, for the court of public opinion, to be able to make up their own mind about things. And as far as his legal situation is concerned, I'm a social worker, not a lawyer, so I hesitate to offer any comment about the fact of where his legal thing is. But I saw an earlier interview which your journalist did with Manny Witz's lawyer to explore to plead with the court to actually find a way forward so that we can basically bring things forth. I think the important thing, Dan, which is why I got so involved with this, we're really wanting to see the state of the criminal justice system transformed. And I think, Willie Hofmeyr and others have made the point that the most useful people to get to grips with particularly financial corruption and fraud are people that are close to the action. Now, I think that, Mr. Agrizzi has been invaluable. I think he took the whole Zondo report to a whole new level or higher orbit. And now we realize that just how serious the problem is. And I'm looking forward to hearing what Minister Gwede Mantashe has to honestly say, because, he doesn't come out well in the report. Very few people do, frankly. And I really hope, that we now get across this threshold and that we don't have the same problem that happened after the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where nothing was properly done. That's what the Whistleblowers for Change are determined to ensure, that there is action by the state to basically throw off its grave clothes of corruption.
Well, thanks for your reactions there. That's John Clarke from Whistleblowers for Change. He just read live for the first time reaction or statement by Mr. Angelo Agrizzi, who's still unwell in hospital, couldn't even attend a court case today.